Good evening from Johannesburg. I am Tumelo Komape, also known as TK. Welcome to Let's Have It Out. Tonight and every weeknight here on eNCA, a variety of newsmakers will get their chance to host this program. We'll give you the chance as a viewer to get involved in the conversation, unfiltered, accountable, and accessible. More than half of South Africans consume their news and information on a mobile device. Gone are the days of the newspaper being the only source of the news. Think of it this way. How did you catch up on news today? Was it via the cell phone? Was it via the tablet or a news app? Or did you go out and buy a newspaper or listen to the radio? The answer to that question is what we will be discussing tonight, looking at digital media versus traditional media. Digital media is now the preferred way of receiving news, entertainment, and advertising and information. So what then does that mean for the role of traditional media? What happens to the newspapers, to the magazines, to radio shows, or even paid for TV ads? Personally, I think digital media consumption will continue to grow, leaving no place for traditional media. You can be part of the conversation, and here's how.
Tweet us at eNCA using the hashtag LHIO. Call us on 011-759-6340 or send us a WhatsApp or WhatsApp video on 082-884-6370. And make sure those videos are no longer than 30 seconds, please.
To help me unpack this debate, I'm joined by eNitiate founder and CEO, Willy Seyama. Bro Willy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, TK, for the invite.
You're welcome. You know, internet access in South Africa has grown. I mean, close to 50% of South Africans now have access to internet. And to access the internet, they use all sorts of various devices, but one of the devices mostly used is the cell phone. And there's also a good stat that say that there are more cell phones in South Africa than there are people. In fact, recorded at around 90, close to 90 million cell phones in South Africa. So that means that South Africans actually use their devices to access the internet, to get information, and to even get their news. So what does this mean in terms of traditional media impact? We know that digital media is on the rise, it's continuing to rise, even in Africa. I mean, I've read somewhere that in Africa, you know, there are more cell phones in Africa as well than there are people. Internet access is continuing to grow in Africa as a whole, and it's projected to continue to grow. Governments are making Wi-Fi access, free Wi-Fi access, including here in South Africa as well. So that means that there will be, you know, information will be easily accessed on mobile devices than on traditional media. So what is the impact of traditional media in South Africa? Do you think it has a future? Do you think it will continue to grow?
Well, it's become rather challenging to clearly define traditional from digital media. So much so that we have to actually find new terms. Let's make the point using 4 quick facts.
Yes.
The first one is this very show.
Yeah.
15 minutes after it ends, it will be on YouTube.
Yes.
So the question becomes, is eNCA in that case a traditional TV station, or has it migrated, or has it become both?
Yes.
The second fact is that when you look at the way people are listening to what is classically still called traditional radio, myself included,
yes,
we stream it using our mobile phones. So the question becomes, you know, all these many radio stations in South Africa, where are they? Are they still classified as traditional or digital?
Yeah.
The third one, of the top 10 websites in South Africa in 2017,
yes,
4 of them come from the brands that are traditionally known as traditional media.
Yes.
And such brands are Times, EWN, eNCA, and The Citizen.
Yes.
So the question becomes, do you still classify those as digital or traditional? The very last one, which I'd like to just put on the table, is that government tells us that by the end of 2019, TV will have migrated from analog to digital.
Yes.
What do we call it after 2019? So when you look at those 4 quick facts, they tell you that the definitions of traditional and digital are not as clear as used to be. Thanks to digital technology, the waters have become somewhat muddy.
But now, how does then traditional media get their budget from? We know that you know, the marketing budget now is more spend is going towards digital marketing. How does traditional media now get their revenue from if more companies, more advertisers are reducing their spend on traditional spending? Looking into the future, will traditional media continue to have revenue from any other sources than the traditional sources that are advertisers?
Let's maybe break it down. You know, there are kind of 4 segments under what used to be called traditional media, the main ones.
Yes.
TV, radio, print, and outdoor. And when you look at these 4 segments, TV and radio are still increasing in terms of consumption in South Africa. Yes, the rate of increase is lower than the digital media, but they are still growing. We know that print is in trouble.
Yeah.
But when you also look at how South Africa from a population point of view is segmented, 35% of South African population is still in the rural areas. Now you're talking issues of access to the digital media, because what we have found, much as, you know, generally governments in Africa, and especially in the likes of Rwanda, where fiber is laid to 95% of the country, we don't have that in South Africa. So in rural areas, there's still issue of internet access. And me and you know, where internet access is not reliable, it means the cost of data spiral.
Yeah.
In addition to the fact that South Africa, as we speak, is one of the countries that are leading insofar as the cost of data. So the point I'm making there is, there will still be a role for traditional media in South Africa,
yes,
for some time to come. I don't advocate for either or.
yes,
Much as you know, I'm digital at heart. But I advocate for an integrated approach to usage of media, with the knowledge of what we can get from you know, the various segments of media, as it were. And I hope to unpack it as we go.
Oh, great. Well, stay tuned as we continue the conversation after the break. Remember to use the hashtag LHIO on social media.